What's up, guys? This is the Gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you what's on my mind. And I'm back again. And I want to start off by thanking everyone for your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, and of course hitting that notification bell, as well as everyone who comments. I truly do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I love the give and take. And also I want to start off by shouting out Craig from the YouTube channel Reviews for You. Craig, I am sending you one great big get well soon wish. I know Craig has been under the weather and he's been fighting illness for a while now. You can go over to his channel. I do believe that there is some fundraising going on there for his expenses. So the channel Reviews for You. Craig is a tireless crusader in this this battle we've been having with Lucasfilm and the quality of Star Wars and things like that. And he's been a constant source of good information, as well as a champion for others who have needed help in the past. And I've always respected that about you, Craig. So hopefully you will take a turn for the better and you'll just get stronger and stronger. You are a badass, so I have no doubt at all that you'll be okay. Also, I want to give a shout out to a figure from my childhood, the actress who played Miss Olsen on Little House on the Prairie. What was her name? Katherine McGregor, I think her name was. Katherine McGregor, a.k.a. Mrs. Harriet Olsen, passed away today at the age of 93. I believe it was today. And, those of you who are familiar with that old show, Little House on the Prairie, know that the character of Harriet Olsen, mother of the demon child, Nellie Olsen, was always a busybody. She was stingy. She was nosy, she was snobby, she would never give credit to Ma and Pa Ingalls, and Half Pint had to dress in rags all the time because of it. But anyway, she gave me a lot of good laughs, when I was younger, watching Little House on the Prairie. So I don't care, it dates me, who cares, I'm old, I already told you that. It's been established, after all, with all these grays, right? So anyway, guys, this is a quick one because I am on my way, as always, to go pick up my son after a long day's work. Now, what I wanted to bring up, guys, is just a quick, a quick editorial opinion. I don't know what you want to call it. But just a few moments ago, my son called me. And he was asking me questions because, see, I say probably last year, my son discovered Michael Jackson, the work of Michael Jackson. And it really, really impressed him, to say the least. Everything was Michael Jackson for a while. He was into his music, he was into his videos, he loved the dances, he loved the attitude, and I was more than happy to share it with him. You guys know this about me. I love to share things with my son. I love to share the experiences of my life and my youth with my son, and of course, I always respected Michael Jackson. So when he stumbled upon him, and I didn't even introduce him to Mike, he found out about him himself, and he just was so fascinated. He was asking me questions and, just really, really respecting this. And, when you look at Michael Jackson's musical catalog, in retrospect, you realize he had a lot of very strong, powerful, positive messages. So it made me even more proud to share this with my son because it opened up the avenue to so many deep conversations, that Michael Jackson had going on in his music. It inspired a lot of that. So standing up for yourself, being brave in the face of your challenges, being able to stand on your own, things like that, and helping others, caring for the earth. I mean, it was such an amazing, impressive catalog that Mike had. So anyway, my son has this undying respect for Michael Jackson. And I always looked at it, it was kind of bittersweet for me because I knew sooner or later he was going to hear about the other side of things with Michael Jackson, all of the rumors and speculation, all of the cruel jokes and things that people were saying about him. And I knew it was just a matter of time. So earlier this evening, my son called me and he wanted to ask me these questions about Michael Jackson. And, is it true, Dad? Is it true? And guys, I'm really hurt right now. I'm really hurt. I can't stand the idea of a child losing a hero, or the possibility of a child losing a hero. A child only gets to be a child for a little while, So it's like Why do people find it so necessary to take a child's innocence this way? It's like, why don't we protect our heroes in this society? Why don't we protect images, I should say? You know, the things that were brought up about Michael Jackson, you can't deny them. You know, I can't say what is true and what's not true. All I can say is what I choose to believe. You know, so I always chose to focus more on his musical talent. You know, I've always chosen to focus more on his image and his messages rather than the speculation that run around him as a human being. So, you know, when my son approached me, that some classmates found out that he liked Michael Jackson, and they decided to, you know, dump on him and tell my son that Michael Jackson was gay. He was abusing children. What was it? You know, there was so many things they were saying about him, and I could tell that it hurt my son. I could hear it in his voice, and it hurt me. And the reason why I wanted to take this to the camera right now is because I've been kind of feeling this way since the passing of Stan Lee, you know, a couple of days ago, because I did, you know, my idea of a tribute video to him a couple of days ago, and when I went back to my comment section, I was surprised to see that there are some people who are actually wishing hell on Stan Lee, you know, and it's like, why? It really surprised me, because I wasn't so much up on the things that were being said about him that was negative and everything. Somebody came on there and said that he was a racist, and I'm like, how is Stan Lee a racist? He created Black Panther, and he didn't just create a black superhero. He created a black superhero that was from the most technologically advanced society on Earth. You know, technologically, Wakanda had no equal, you know, from what I understand. A racist would never, ever do that, you know? So it's like, okay, Stan Lee is a human being, and of course human beings are going to have frailties. It's like you can see a human being doing things that, I don't know, that don't stand up, you know, with the, you know, the scrutiny of time and things like that. But when you think about a man's legacy, why would you deny a man's legacy because of his shortcomings as a human being? It's like, why do people have this thing in them where they want to tear down a positive image, you know, for some people? Okay, Stan Lee was a human being, you know, he was not perfect. Okay, Michael Jackson was a human being, he was not perfect. But as far as I know, neither one of them were actually convicted of a crime. Like, maybe I'm missing something. You guys help me out. I don't remember Michael Jackson being convicted of a crime. You know, I do believe that he did face accusations. I remember that. And people have to decide what they want to believe. You know, whether you choose to believe that he was guilty of some of the things they were saying about him or not. You know, that's up to every individual. But it just breaks my heart, because when we take away our heroes, and we take away the heroes that appeal to children, and we smear them forevermore on the internet and things like that, then things like what happened with me earlier and my son, you know, that's going to happen. You know, it's like you have it out there on the internet. So, you know, either my son can discover it that way, or like I said, one of his friends can discover it and then come back and tell him when they find out that, you know, he admires Michael Jackson, or, you know, or whoever might be inspired by Stan Lee. You know, it's just sad. I know that you can't change these things in society. It's just going to be what it is. I understand that. You can't get away from it. I'm not downing people who choose to believe that Michael Jackson was a degenerate, you know, or Stan Lee for that matter. You know, I remember, you know, when Charles M. Schulz died, somebody told me that Charles M. Schulz was a racist and I shouldn't respect him, you know, the creator of Peanuts and Charlie Brown. And my thing was, I grew up reading Charlie Brown. You know, he got me through some very, very tough times in my life. You know, the philosophy of Charlie Brown, of Charles M. Schulz through his comic. You know, so my thing was, Charles M. Schulz created the character of Franklin, and he created him at a time when it was risky to his profession to introduce him, a black character, into his comic strip, because so many people were still so insecure about that kind of thing. Like, racially in America, it was a very trying time. And not only did he create this black character in his comics, Franklin, but he created him intelligent. He created him with a family that had a World War II veteran in it. you know, and he was very respectable, he was very respectful, he was very intelligent and well-spoken. Franklin was a very, very good character for anybody, but especially for, you know, a young black kid who might be reading his comic who just, you know, found some comfort in seeing a black character. So, I mean, as for me, I just love Charlie Brown. I love Charlie Brown because Charlie Brown was a loser like me, you know, when I was growing up. He was an insecure, wishy-washy loser like me. So, you know, reading Charles M. Schulz gave me a pretty good view of who he was through his art, just like the work of Stan Lee. You know, I judge that man as I perceive him through his art, and his art was brilliant. His art was beautiful. With Michael Jackson, I feel the same way. Some people will get in the comment section and talk about this and talk about that. I listen to the man's music, and I hear his words, and I feel his feelings in his art. I think that a lot of artists are like that. A lot of artists are very, very complicated, and they are subject to, you know, they are subject to the scrutiny of people, you know, of the society around them, you know, and who knows, maybe they are into some questionable things. But when you talk about a legacy of a person or people who have passed away, well, just like any other art, it's open to interpretation. So I wanted to get on the camera and talk about this because it kind of brought me down, you know, talking to my son about it. I heard my son, you know, I heard the disappointment in his voice, but I also heard him, I also heard his resolve. He told me, I don't care. He said, I don't care what anybody says. He said, I think that Michael Jackson cared about everyone, and I'm always going to love him, and I'm always going to love his music, and that was deep for me. That was deep for me, and you know, my son at 10 years old, I hope he can maintain that, you know, throughout his life. You know, as for these people who live and die, like with all of us, you know, our judgment goes to a higher power, if you believe in that, and that's the only way that anything is going to be settled in this life. You know, we don't have the power to, you know, to condemn one another, you know. So, yeah, guys, you know, as always, I say rest in peace to Stan Lee. I say rest in peace to Charles M. Schulz. I say rest in peace to Michael Jackson. And I'm very grateful to those who went through this life and touched countless amounts of people who they'll never ever understand and never know just how much they might have changed somebody's life. But then all of us are like that. You know, we walk this earth and you never know who sees you. You never know who sees what you do and the way you do it. You never know who you might be inspiring. And that's the reason why you stay strong, you know, and you stay focused and you stay committed to who you are unapologetically. Because you never ever know who might be watching you. You never know who you might be touching. And that is your legacy. And let nobody destroy your legacy. Just the way no one should destroy the legacy of people who have been through here before us. It is what we perceive it to be. And that's different from person to person. But as for me, I am grateful to every last individual, every last imperfect individual that I ever get to experience and witness. So, yeah, guys, that's how I'm feeling about it. Now I'm going to go pick up my son and give him a great big old hug. If you got through this video, I really do appreciate it because I didn't know, you know, what I was going to say about it. I was kind of moody when I turned this thing on. I guess you can tell. But, yeah, let me go get this kid so I can give him a great big old hug. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Thank you, guys. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. I will catch you on the next one. Rock on.